Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families.
And I'm Merle Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families. And we are excited to have you join us as we talk all things faith, family, and fitness. A special thanks to Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency for their support of Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community one family at a time. Hello, this is Merle Hutchinson for Rock Solid Families, and we are on Rock Solid Radio. So we want to just get started into part two. But before we do with part two, hey, Linda, how are you?
Part two of what? You didn't explain
part two of last week's show. Yeah, hello, you were there.
Our special guests.
Yeah, the people you couldn't remember their name.
No, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna practice. Yep. Jon and Kelly Tisevich. Did I get it? There you go.
You got
I said jelly last time, so yeah, I'm really all for it.
Guys, thanks for coming back. Yeah. Thanks for coming back. And we had such a great conversation rolling, but just for the sake of show time, we felt like we wanted to break it up into two parts, just so that we didn't get too long in one area. And so we thank you for your willingness to hang with us. Yeah. Yes, we love doing those teasers. So anyway, we're going to get right back to your story, but we do want to do our housekeeping stuff. We first want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency. They have built a reputation in business built on caring, listening, and protecting their customers. Mansfield Insurance Agency began in 1981 by Jim Mansfield and is dedicated to serving individuals and businesses in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. If you have an insurance need, call Mansfield Insurance Agency at 800-230-3927.
Yeah, we're so thankful for Jim Mansfield and their support of Rock Solid Radio. We also want to thank Maxwell Construction, which was founded in 1988 by John Maxwell. And since that time, Maxwell Construction has grown and expanded to become among the most recognized commercial construction companies in the tri-state. What separates Maxwell Construction apart from their competition is their emphasis on being service-oriented to help them meet the needs of their customers. So if you have any kind of construction need, call Maxwell Construction at 1-812-537-2200.
All right, very good. So as far as any regular announcements or anything like that, we always are wanting to have our name out there for any of you folks that need help with anything in the way of marriage, family, and fitness and coaching. And so please reach out to us at 812-576-7625. And hun, we've started to pick up even more and more people through Zoom conferencing. One of the things that the COVID-19 did is it pushed us to be uncomfortable with teleconferencing. But now it's really been kind of a neat thing for a lot of our clients because they don't have to get babysitters or it works around work schedules a little bit better. So Zoom conferencing is available, but hey, our doors are open and we love to see you walk through if we can help you.
Yeah, but it also kind of expands our reach. So if you're listening to this and you don't live in the Cincinnati tri-state area, we still can help. We can walk alongside you. So things we're talking about with Jon and Kelly today are things that a lot of our listeners are walking through as well. And so we want to provide resources. We want to provide hope and help for those that are listening and those that are in need. So we hope that Rock Solid Families can be one of those resources. So rocksolidfamilies.org is the place to go to contact us or to find out more. So.
Okay, so can we get into the story?
Yes,
all right,
Jon and Kelly.
Let's bring us back up to speed. So last time we were talking, we got a little bit of dirt on your upbringings from the Canton, Ohio area. And Jon, you grew up basically in the Brady Bunch home. Everything was pretty much peachy keen, and you just things really were solid. And not to make fun of that, is because that's actually what we're about here at Rock Solid Families, is to have that solid upbringing. And Kelly, yours was a little bit more turbulent, right? You had some challenges and stuff. Yeah. And so here we are, we're both being raised up, but as life has it, trauma hits us, right? Whether it's trauma from your father, or Jon, in your case, trauma from 3 very significant losses in your life from family and friends. And so, Jon, I'm going to have you pick up here. You made Broadway.
You were killing it.
You were killing it. I mean, you were like living the high life and just thinking you're pretty much all that at that point.
Yeah.
So how about pick up?
So as I was traveling and performing all across America, my success. Wow,
yeah, there we go.
See?
you better edit that out, my friend. My success kept climbing, but so did my my inability to truly understand what it meant to be whole. Mm-hmm. And so with every show, because I ended up being very fortunate, I went from one show to the next, to the next, to the next, and kept climbing that ladder of success. And as I went higher, actually was going deeper into a pit of just loneliness and depression and despair. And so by the time I got to my fourth show, and it was a show called Rent, and it was a very high profile show, and so it upped the level of attention, success, and at that time another friend actually committed suicide, and that opened all of the floodgates, kind of like ripped the if there even off. Was a Band-Aid, right? That it ripped it off, and everything came out of that I had never dealt with. And so in a very quick turnaround, it was like 3 months later, I had to leave the show. I had a full-blown cocaine addiction, completely spiraling out of control. I moved back to Ohio, thinking like in the great state of Ohio, no one did drugs and I'd be able to clean myself up. Again, when I left, I came from a Brady Bunch family.
Right, so that wasn't your world.
I had no connection to a world like that. And so I came back and very quickly found out I could find people who partied like me, who lived like me. I fell into that culture, blew all of my money, and I made great money doing what I did. I burned through all of my money. Living that lifestyle, I started stealing from my parents to continue to live in that lifestyle until finally, really, it was I look back and think it was a God-ordained moment where there was a tornado coming through the Canton area. And I remember that because this was the day that my dad banged on my apartment door. I had intentionally, when I went back to Ohio, moved into inner city where I could walk out of my apartment and buy anything that I wanted. And my dad banged on my door that day and confronted me on where is this money, with these credit card bills that were coming in. And I had this moment of clarity, and I just spilled all because nobody knew why I came back to Ohio. And so I unraveled everything. And from there, man, we went through legal counsel and trying to figure out what were the best things to do. Because, I mean, I racked up a lot of debt of the money that I had stolen from my parents. And what we found out was the only way for them not to be held responsible for that debt was for me, for them to press charges against me. And so my dad being my dad, and I don't know if you ever hear this, Dad, but he had one of those dad moments of, John, like, if you need to leave, like, I'll make sure they don't find you. Like, you could go down that path.
Protect you.
Disappear, yeah.
And I'll make sure they don't. And it was, again, another one of those moments where, and I think because of how I was brought up, it was like, no, I have to own this. Like, this isn't you. That type of debt that I had accumulated would have completely crippled them. At that point, my dad was retired on disability, and so they were only receiving that money coming in, and it would have completely taken them out. And so I said, you need to press charges. And so they did, which then sent me to be locked up, and I was incarcerated for 4 months. But in between that time of coming back to Ohio, a complete mess. I was about to swear on your radio station. I was a mess. I actually ran into Kelly at a Starbucks, and we saw each other. I was on the outside of Starbucks, and she was sitting
through the window.
We saw each
Gazing
other.
at each other's eyes.
I did.
Your coffee addiction brought you together.
You wonder why we drink Starbucks so much.
And then I looked at her, and I kept walking. Because she broke my heart
Totally
before. I couldn't handle that again. So I did. I kept walking. I left. And then I came back.
Wow. Back by the window.
And then I had to come back by the window. And that time I actually went into Starbucks. I went in. I don't even really think we said any words. She got off the stool, and we hugged. And in that hug, truly, it was a coming home moment. For us, it literally, as cheesy as it does sound, it was a hug that changed both our lives. And from that moment on, like, we've not been apart. And both of us at that time, though, were walking through hellacious storms. And so it truly was a moment where two storms collided. I'm going to take a deep breath and pause right there.
Oh, you were doing so well.
No, I'm just going to...
I'm getting emotional, and I know me too.
I'm going to see if they want to know about your story.
Well, I think that's a great segue, just because this is part 2, and we brought both of you in. And Kelly, I am very curious now. You've got Jon, who went off the rails but made it big in the Broadway deal, but then that kind of spiraled out, and so just continued to deal with the demons, that dropped him basically to his knees. So what was going on during all those years
for you?
For me, yeah. So like I alluded to before, I became very independent. I was going to make it on my own, however I needed to. And so for me, as much as his demon became more external, you could see his spiral. For me, on the outside, I was very put together. I had it...
Very accomplished, very driven.
You're killing it.
I was killing it. So, I graduated, I went to college, I went to grad school, I put myself through those. Wow. So I do have some student debt I'm still paying. But, as my mom, single mom, couldn't afford to send me to college. And I said, that's okay. I can do it. So I worked full-time job while I did my undergrad. I have my bachelor of biology. And then I went to grad school at Walsh in the Canton area. I have my master's in physical therapy. Got a job, right out of college. Got hired at, one of the PT clinics that I had done some student time at. So I was... Like you said, I was killing it. Yeah. I was great. I was doing well. I was supporting myself. On the inside, I was a hot mess. So mine was more of that internal. My demons were still on the inside. My worth, my value, what did I define myself by? Was it what I was doing, what everybody could see? Because they could see success. They could see this well put together woman who is taking care of herself and, very smart, very intelligent, doing well in her career. But for me, I was still chasing, what do I really value? Who am I? Yeah. And who gets to decide who I am?
Right.
Yeah. Was the world deciding the things that were important to me, or was I?
Yeah.
So during all this time, was there any contact at all between the two of you? Did you know what he was doing,
in between,
or vice versa?
No,
I knew he moved to New York.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it wasn't like we
were not in contact.
Yeah. Okay. No. Not at all.
If he would come back and visit, we might randomly run into each other, just happenstance.
No intention to it though.
No, there was not really a relationship. It was just someone I'd gone to high school with, and I actually was sitting in the Starbucks with a friend of mine. We had met for coffee. So I had met one of my girlfriends there for coffee, and he walked by the window, and I was like, I think I know him. I was like, that's Jon. Wow. And then he just kept walking, and I was like, oh. Well, I probably deserved that. I was like, oh, that's all right. But then he came back.
So you guys really, you really are describing the foundation that so many people try to build their lives on and their worth on, and that is that success, that money, even when things get tough, to run and hide an addiction or success. And so what we found is that that's sinking sand, right? That Rock Solid Families is based on the wise and foolish builders of what kind of home are you going to build on, sand or rock? And so tell us a little bit of how how you move from that point, that hug, which got me, to finding that foundation, because this is really what we want to get to is this foundation of Christ. How did that become what you build your marriage, your relationship, your family on?
Sure. I don't think immediately following that hug.
Hug Jesus.
Yeah, no, it definitely was not that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I have other memories.
Yeah.
So I think the collision of our storms was pretty unhealthy for a little while, actually. And so we just kind of fed off of each other a little bit. We had each other, but it wasn't. It wasn't probably good to describe.
And again, without getting, was it not good because you weren't doing healthy things, like whether it be partying and stuff like that? Or
right.
So it wasn't, it was that sort of thing, not negative attitude stuff.
Yeah, we were still trying to cope.
Right,
Yeah.
you were still
I think the
in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, how we've been
because
coping
of our
individually.
demons.
Now we were coping the same way
Exactly.
together.
Right.
Which, by the way, walks in our door all the time.
Yeah. So we're coping together. And so he was still going through, legal things. I was around for the jail time. So you should have heard the advice from my friends.
Yeah, so here's Kelly, this highly
like a box of hot rocks.
Yeah, like completely focused, driven, successful leader in the community. She could be like set up with doctors and surgeons and lawyers, and she says, "Hey, here's this guy.
I've got a convict.
Yeah,
I really think it's
wow,
cute.
you nailed it." So
they were questioning my
decision making,
decisions.
and they should have. It was really to get to Jesus. It was Kelly on Thursdays was visitation, and so Kelly split that time with my parents. They would come and visit during visitation hours, and Kelly would split that time, and Kelly would come. And it just for those that, if I could say anything to those who are dabbling towards a path of incarceration, one of the most hellacious things I ever put my loved ones through was them having to see me in that place, to put them in that place of what visitation hours are like, and the hell. But you don't think about that stuff when you're only thinking about yourself. But in hindsight, it was such a hell that I was asking them to be a part of. And they entered into it because they loved me. But it was on one of those Thursday nights that Kelly said to me, basically, get your crap together or this is over. She didn't say crap, but
we can only imagine.
Yep. Yeah. And I said, no, absolutely. I'm trying to. I will. And she said, no, I'm serious. One of the things I need you to do is start going to church.
Now, can I stop? Why did you say that, Kelly? What was the church part that was even on your mind?
So at my first actually PT job, a very, very dear friend of mine, Yvette looked at me and she said,
"You need Jesus."
She said, "Kelly, you need Jesus."
Okay.
That's what
So
she said
she
to
was
me.
just bold.
She was. So we were working together. She's a PT, and our desks were right next to each other. And so she knew, what I was going through, and she knew my stories. And I shared with her, my past. And she straight up was like, "You need Jesus.
Wow.
Come to church.
We need more people like Yvette in our
We
life.
do. Everyone needs a Yvette.
Yes.
So she was attending River Tree Christian Church, and so I said, "Well, okay, I'll go." And so I started going to church with her on Sundays, and
so that was touching your heart enough that made you say, "This is something that I think
we should
Jon
do."
needs."
She started to see healing in a way she had never experienced before, and so.
Well, that was the first place that someone actually said to me, "He wants to have a relationship with you." I was like, "Well, what does that mean?"
God wants to have a relationship with you.
Yeah, that He wants to know me. I'd never been told that before.
Yeah, you had gone through patterns and
religion,
sequences of
tradition,
stuff.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
So when she said, you need to go to church, I said, nope. Because
Did you really?
Oh yeah. All I knew of church is what I shared with you guys a little bit off air.
Part one.
Yeah, is that it was very unhealthy, and it was full of hypocrites and judgmental people, and I wanted nothing to do with that. And she was serious. She was either you do this or it's over. And so my mama didn't raise a fool. And so I didn't want to lose her. So I actually went to church. And the first message I heard when I went to River Tree, the pastor shared a message out of Luke, the prodigal son.
Wow.
And it wrecked me. It was one of those moments, and it was a big church like Whitewater, and it felt like I was the only one in the room, and the message was completely ordained just for me. And it was the first time I ever heard a story about a lost son going off to these other cities, doing lots of unhealthy things, coming back
Spending
home,
all his money,
and then waiting and knowing that there was going to be repercussions of that. A fear-based mentality only to find a father with open arms and saying, my son is home, let's throw a party. And so, I dropped to my knees, I wept, and that started then the path to Jesus. Very shortly after that, Kelly and I we were baptized
together.
Yeah. She looked at me one day in the middle of a baptism service, and
Get your swim trunks on.
And I was sitting there like, yeah, okay, when's this going to be over? Like, I'm not doing this whole baptism thing, whatever. And I could feel the Spirit tugging at me that whole service, and without even me even recognizing what happened, Kelly was already standing, getting ready to go down the aisle, and she looked at me, extended her hand, and said, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Okay, we're doing this." So from there, I mean, I was now, like all of the story, I am now in a place of, I am a felon, I am just out, no opportunities. No one's hiring felons. I have, though, this very widely successful career behind me with lots of gifts inside of me. And I didn't know what to do with them or how to use them. And Jesus really started to work on my heart of like, I'm the one who put those gifts there. I'm the one who put that inside of you. And it's nothing against how you were using them before, but I am drawing you into a new way to use these gifts. And so I started processing with the pastor of that church. He took me under his wing and started mentoring me, and started to truly form me and build me back up as a Christ-centered man. Like my dad had taught me how to be a man. Some things healthy, some things not. But these men now started to sharpen me of what does it look like to be a man of character, a man of integrity, a man whose spine is strong because of Christ inside of you. Amen. And how do you use these gifts, talents, abilities, passions for the focus of building kingdom, God's kingdom and not your own. And very quickly, I could say now that it was a calling on my life. At the time, I didn't know. I had no words to share or understanding of like, there's something that I think this God guy is doing in me. And
how old were you at that point?
At that point, oh boy, I'm trying to do quick math. I am 27 at the time. Okay,
so yeah, you're not a 21-year-old punk.
No,
you've got a little bit of time behind you.
Bit. Yeah. So I am having a redefining moment in my late 20s, and so I mean at that point everything here's where I think where it is so crucial. It's a part of our personal ministry now that we'll bring to the Whitewater Crossing table of how we lead. Everything from that moment of Kelly, she really just said, like, she threw that gauntlet down and saying, like, this is a non-negotiable. Yeah. From that point on, it became the two of us against everything, and it showed this united front of we are truly better together. We are stronger in this. We will be, they say the evenly yoked, working together. Like it was one moving forward that we knew God had a hold of us. And so we submitted to the leadership and the healthy men and women around us and really went to them with this, like, we're broken and we need fixed. we're trusting you to help us.
Yeah.
And it was because of them sharpening us with Jesus at the foundation that it established who we are today. So like without them, without that community around us, we're not where we are today.
But you guys have got to admit, though, it wasn't just the two of you. You were putting the cord of the three strands. I mean, Ecclesiastes,
Absolutely.
we're talking about you now are bound with Christ as your strength.
We had a true north compass.
Yeah.
You know?
I call it the super glue or the gorilla glue, you know, like, and that's what makes the difference. That means a successful couple versus a Christ following couple that is bringing him glory in everything they do. You can have power couples out there who are bound together, but it's that third strand that makes it unbreakable.
I couldn't imagine some of the battles, some of the decisions, some of the struggles that we have gone through even since coming together, not our personal stories, but our story together, without that foundation.
Yeah.
How do you get through it? I can't imagine.
We were shipwrecked. Like I genuinely, I want people, and you can yell at me all you want out there when you hear this. I want people to have this relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm saying Kelly and I, if people could have the relationship that we have and all of our dirt, and the more you know about us, we got plenty of dirt, pre, post, and all over with
Still
Jesus.
Coming.
But because of what Jesus has done in our lives, individually and together, because of how he's redeemed our lives, because how he is redeeming our lives, like I want this so badly, because there isn't anything that we can't walk through together, storms or successes. That we know, like, we're going to get through this. And we've been shipwrecked so many times. And it's like, no, at no point where we're like, well, where's God? It's like, no. God's in this, so we will get through this.
He's the rock. He's the foundation that you're building off of. And so you know that whatever storm comes, and we say that to folks that walk in our door all the time. Name the storm: bankruptcy, cancer, infidelity, whatever. That there's nothing that you can't get through if Jesus Christ is the rock that you put your trust in, that you build your life on.
It so much speaks to the vows that you took in marriage that are so often just not even they're not even digested and thought about. The idea that two become one, and that's what Linda and I talk about. Like, when you actually understand that and believe that, when the two become one, that when you hurt her, you should hurt. All right, but when one of you celebrates, both of you can celebrate. And so now both rock solid family is just the ministry of it. Not that we had all of the stuff that you guys did, but we definitely had our issues earlier. But one of the things that we can relate to was coming into faith on the same path. Like we both grew up in a church, but we both came into a faith of our adult faith pretty much in equal stride, because we were challenging each other. And it was kind of like, you need to get this or not, right? And so coming together, and really it's like, we still have our little tiffs at Rock Solid Family. We still have our dirt.
Our offices are too close together.
But it's just like, no, this is not about us. This is about him. And when we raise families that way, right? I love what you said about your dad. He raised you to be a man. Okay, and there is goodness in that, right?
Absolutely.
That's where strength. I love what you said earlier about he gave you a backbone, right? You had strength in that, but we need, and at Rock Solid Families, we need to then go one step farther and put Christ in that, because I can only have so much worldly strength. Like your gifts in the world are only going to get you so far. And so, what is going to carry me when the wind blows the wrong way? And so
when the storm comes, when the rain comes, when the flood
comes,
and they do come,
and they do come,
and they will come.
So I love that part of this, and I will say too, Jon, there is, from the stage, the few times I've heard you enjoy speaking in a nonconformist way, and a bit of a rebellious way. And can you just, where does that come from? Okay.
So one thing that Kelly and I, we were actually just talking about this after last week's sermon. I love the saints, if you will. I love the congregation of the people who have come to know Jesus and claim him as Lord and Savior. Period. New sentence. That is not why I am called into ministry.
Yep.
I have been, the calling on my life, and my calling is different than your calling, The one that is uniquely shaped and molded for me is to go after the lost. And I will do everything a hair's breadth away from sin to make sure that I have done everything I can to reach into hell and pull people out, the way Kelly did for me. If you remember the story where these guys, they had this friend that was broken, and they just wanted him to get to Jesus, but where Jesus was, it was crowded and there was not enough room, and so there was lots of excuses why their friends could have given up. And they said, no way. We'll go up on the roof. We will break that roof, and we will get him to Jesus no matter what. Had I not had a Kelly that said, no matter what,
this is it.
I'm bringing you to him. It's on you what you do with him.
That's right. Yeah.
But so my unorthodox approach, my unconventional, my rebellion approach, I don't care about what churchy people, if they are offended, because I'm not here for them. I'm here to carry out the mission and mantle of Jesus that said, I've come to seek and save the lost. The healed, they don't need a doctor. I'm going after the lost. And so I run into the fire. I don't run away from it. I don't dance around religion. It makes me vomit. I hate lukewarm, and so does Jesus. And so it is such a hot flame because I know what I was saved from. And if I can be redeemed with the launder, I will go toe to toe with Paul in heaven. We will have this match of who was the chief sinner. And I hate that about myself, but I love that because I know that if he can redeem me, then he can redeem.
It's like the woman from the alabaster jar, that like
to whom much is given.
Exactly. Jesus be like her,
Who has forgiven much loves much.
I think I would replace the word rebellion with the word passion.
Passionate.
No,
Passionate.
Absolutely.
He's not rebellious.
Right.
He's passionate. When people ask me to describe him, like what's one word you would use to describe Jon? He's passionate.
Yes.
About everything.
No, I'm not passionate about everything. I'm not. I'm passionate about the things that I love.
Okay.
I'm passionate about the things
that matter.
That are of value.
Passionate. And it may come out as rebellion. But that's really what it is.
And it truly comes from this place of, for those of you who've seen Saving Private Ryan, you'll get this, that there will be a moment at the end of my life where on this side of earth and on the next side of heaven, where there will be an account of what did you do with my son. And the weight that I carry is I know what I've been redeemed from, and I know the opportunity that he's given me. And so there is this I want to do everything I have in the time that I have to get that word out, to that hope to as many people as possible. And if I'm not doing that, then what was I doing?
Right. Yeah.
What was I doing with this? And there's an unhealth in this, and I acknowledge that suddenly I have to earn it. Because in the Saving Private Ryan moment, he looks, if you know the movie, you know the movie, and he says, did I earn this? That gets me every time because I feel that every day of did I earn this life and I can't. That's the beauty of it.
That's right.
I don't deserve the grace and life that I have.
But Jon,
that's the beauty of what the gift of grace is.
But Jon, don't you feel like that should be all of our passions? Of again, not everybody's going to preach from the stage, but sharing our faith.
But that's
the gift
not
of grace that we've been given.
And that's part of our ministry, that like to help people realize you do not need a building and a paid professional to help you come to know Jesus and for you to be a difference maker in your spheres of influence. No, that is completely wrong theology.
Yeah.
Yes, we should come together as the saints and gather together and worship together and edify the body. Absolutely, and I'm all for that. But Jesus did his ministry in other spaces as well. Yeah. In his 3, in his 12, and then in his large space. Yeah. And where are we then walking as Christians, little Christs, in our workplaces, in our schools, in our own spaces to go, I embody the same Holy Spirit. Yeah. Now, you will be able to do infinitely more than what I did because of the Spirit that lives in you. Right. Not the pastor that lives in you.
Yvette was in a physical therapy office sharing the gospel and the need for Christ. And that came from a passion that she had for Christ and knowing what he had done in her life. She wanted that for her friend. Right. That's what we all have got to go out and do. Whether it be in school, at church, at home, with our friends. That's our calling.
And here's why this is so profound is the seed that was planted from Yvette and how this carried down. But now think of it as our children and their children's children. And the generational sins and the cycle that was broken from Kelly's family to how now she will parent her daughter. Yes. And what she will now provide. How my family set me up well, but there was a missing piece of Jesus in that foundation. Well, I broke that cycle. And there's so many cycles that have now been broken because of that one thing that was missing. It was Jesus. Exactly. Jesus will break that cycle to set the next generation up for even greater success.
Wow, that's awesome.
Man, yeah. Well, we could do part 3, but
that's an awesome place to leave it. That's awesome.
That's awesome, and we just love the passion of that and the story, the redemption story. I think it is so important that you hit something that really hits me with the lukewarm part. With a little bit of regard to that, that's what I use the word rebellious, and you're right. It's rebellious when when it feels uncomfortable to me, right?
When you're confronted with the Pharisees,
right? And so it's because we do get into our own comfort. We've done entire shows about comfort and comfort, and so lukewarm water is the most comfortable place to be, right? I don't do a scalding hot nor freezing cold shower. I do a lukewarm, and that's our comfort zone, and so that's where Satan lives. Yep. That's where Satan lives, you know, in the comfort, lukewarm water. Yeah, and so this is that challenge. I love also that you talked about how, you know, there are changing moments, and I think that's that part where the Holy Spirit tugs on us. Are we going to recognize it? Yeah. Are we going to give the Spirit its due credit? And because when you made Broadway, it was because of you. Right. Yeah. Right. But when you made Christ, it was because of him and you accepting that, and it's just that is so powerful. I want to close this out just with the idea that everybody's faith can look different based on our gifts. Absolutely. Okay, and so Jon, whether you are a great orator and energy on the stage or whatever, and you know, I see your gifts, I'm like, I could never do that. Right. Christ doesn't want me to do what you do. He's given me my gifts to do my way. And so, Kelly, you said it before, in my own workplace, I can be the hands and feet. In my own workplace, I can do these things. And I think that's our biggest stress. In your own home. Absolutely. Man, in your own home, just be who you are. Right. Be who you are in Christ's image.
There is no greater calling. There is no greater mission field.
Yeah. And again, we don't need to imitate each other. No. We need to be who we are, with the idea that we're going to be.
Right. God's called you to be you. There is no understudy for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so many people live that. They don't actually step into the actual lead role of their lives, of the movie they've been cast in. Yeah. They are living their lives as understudies in the background. Yeah. And it's like, no, God is ushering into the lead role, into this incredible adventure. Live into this.
Right. Good, bad, ugly. All of the things that you bring to the table. It's part of your story. He uses them.
Yeah.
You're the ugly parts of your story, Jon, are what is going to capture so many people's hearts. And Kelly, the same for you, same for us. And so we can't ever be ashamed of that. We bring it to the table and say, God, use this.
We talk very much. I don't give you permission to live a life of regrets. Mm-hmm. Everything that you did in your past is what was grooming you to where you are today.
Absolutely.
It's what you do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That is whether it's a mistake or not, right? It's what we do with it. And so, all of our flaws that we've had and just shortcomings, it's like, let's just put it blunt. They suck when you're going through them, but that's that refining, that purification process. If you allow Christ to speak to you.
So, is there any as we wrap up? Is there any final comments, challenge that you would want if there are listeners out there who maybe didn't know your story, maybe they don't have a relationship with Christ? Like, what would be some final words that you would want to share with them? Sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, it's fine. I'll go real succinct. There is nothing you can do that will make God love you any less. And there's nothing you can do that will make God love you any more. Like he has something incredible for you, and he wants something better for you, and he will usher you into that, but you are loved no matter what. You're not alone in this. You're more than enough. You truly are. There is something better for you, but it will only be found in him. And I'd say to our families, just be good to yourselves as parents. That is one of the greatest things. And I'm not trying to take business away from you guys, because I know you're not in it for the money. You're in it for wholeness and families. But the reality is that a driver for some of our brokenness as parents, as leaders in our families and our circles, is we don't take the time to actually be good to ourselves. To just truly, like, it's okay. Like, just be really good to your heart. Are you taking care of your heart? Are you taking care of your head? Like, because you can't give out health if you don't have health. So that's what two things I'd say. So
I mean, there's multiple levels to that health as well. Mental health, spiritual health, physical health, and when all that is married together, you have to have all of it. And I guess, in the words of Whitewater, if we're using terms from there, hope. You have to have hope.
There is hope.
I
don't care where
hope.
you are in your journey.
Yeah, right.
Like, there is hope.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the stories we have. I wouldn't change our story at all.
Yeah.
Everything I went through. I hate that I put family members and loved ones through so much hell. But I wouldn't change any of it. Because it's a testimony of the hope that is available to all of us.
And I think they're all better for it.
Yeah.
We see that on the other side. Often don't
Yeah.
see it in your storm that you're in, but you're in one, coming out of one, or going into your next, right?
Yeah.
And hope sustains through any of those.
And the hope of anything else besides Christ is going to be fleeting and empty.
Right.
So.
And I think we're an example of that.
Hope's the energy that wakes us up tomorrow.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
you
us.
coming in and just sharing your story. And
you got
we're
me outside
excited.
of my comfort zone.
Yes. But
you did so well.
Jon and Kelly do come to Whitewater as part of the family now, and but we know that those listening out there, if you don't have a church home, we would love for you to come down and visit us at Whitewater Crossing. But as you heard, a church home is a part where you can come and lay that foundation of faith and mentorship and accountability. So even if you're not in the Cincinnati tri-state area, find a church home, find those mentors, find those people, find those Yuvettes that are going to help you kind of go in that journey, because there is no other life than a life with Christ. So, we just want to close and thank our sponsors.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency and Maxwell Construction for getting alongside of Rock Solid Radio. Also, if there's anything that we can do to help any of you, our tagline is, as you alluded to, Kelly, we have to have all of our areas healthy. We do faith, family, fitness at Rock Solid Families, and it's just for that reason. And so please reach out to us at 812-576-7625. So thanks again for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. For help or more information about what you've heard on today's show, contact us at rocksolidfamilies.org or call us at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-ROCK. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction and Mansfield Insurance Agency. If you have questions you'd like answered on our show, or you want to chime in on something you heard, go to our Facebook page, Rock Solid Families. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, and for my husband Merle and I, thanks for tuning in to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time.